Power is a test. Have you ever thought what you would do with it?
Because the truth is, every one of us has power, and we're responsible for it.
We all make a difference. Every one of us has an impact.
The question is, will it be for good or for God?
Some things you just have to experience to really understand.
Politics is one of them.
Put your belief into action.
Learn what it takes to lead.
This is why I can't wait for iGovern 2012. I will spend a week as a member of U.S. Congress.
I will experience government from the inside.
I will have fun with people who love God and love America.
I will make friends that last a lifetime.
I will be inspired by incredible speakers and be challenged to live an authentic faith.
I will build a foundation for the rest of my life.
Because the future starts with me.
If we don't pass the torch to the next generation, everything that we've fought for will pass away.
If we don't have people who believe the principles of freedom, we won't be a free nation.
The only way you can be a free nation is if you have a citizenry that's educated well enough to understand what it takes to preserve freedom.
It is so important that the next generation of young people be ready and prepared to fight for freedom.
Good future leadership happens intentionally.
And that's what Gen J is all about, to make sure that people understand the principles of freedom and will be willing to lead the country toward freedom in the years ahead.
This idea of freedom is the most important thing that we have, and it's worth fighting for.
I don't want to be someone who grows old watching the sunset of America and telling my son stories about what it used to be.
Our country's future is at stake.
If Christians cease to be involved, we'll lose the foundation that made America great. America is great because America is good.
We need some young people who will stand up, who will believe in freedom, and really understand the God-given foundation this nation is built upon.
Stand up for what is right. Don't give up. Every single person has a sphere of influence, and God has put you into that place to make a difference.
Hi, I'm Jason Hershey from the newly pioneered Washington, D.C. House of Prayer, and I'm standing here on the ellipse of the White House, just across the fence from our president's backyard, and I'm here to share great news with you. It's unprecedented that anything like this has ever happened before, but we've obtained a permit from the National Park Service to put up a tent on this land for over 40 days this fall, to literally do Tent of David day and night worship continuously from September 25th until November 6th, Election Day. We are thrilled about this because obviously we know in Psalms chapter 22 verse 3, the proper rendering of that scripture says that the Lord is enthroned on the praises of His people. I love that because before man ever steps into the polling booths this November the 6th, before we ever go in and vote the lever for man, we want to come to this place, on this ground right here, that's actually, it's under the surveillance of the Secret Service. It's part of the White House grounds, to come on this land, to get the presence by the palace in the capital city, just like King David did. And before we ever step into the polls, that we'd say, Jesus, you are the King of Kings, you are the Lord of Lords, believing that when His throne comes on the praises of His people, that Jesus came not to condemn the world, but to save it. That Jesus is good news for America, and that He's coming to save this great nation. And so with great hope in our hearts and great joy in our spirits, we are blowing the trumpet to summon worshipers this fall from all 50 states. I believe that's a dream of the Lord, that we would have a worship team from all 50 states be represented at some point underneath this tent here. So I know 40 days is a long time, and many of you have jobs and can't come here for the whole time. But maybe you can come with your worship team for a weekend or a couple days or for a full week and stand here, represent your state, represent your church, your movements, your house of prayer, wherever you're from, that we really could come together as the United States of America and do nothing but enthrone Jesus.
Hi, I'm Christina Garza, the Campus Outreach Director for Survivors of the Abortion Holocaust. Our nation is facing an unprecedented attack on faith and freedom. We all have a part to play and a duty in this day of crisis. We are asking for your help today.
Beginning at 5 p.m. on September 29, 2012, we will engage in 72 hours of continuous prayer, prophetic witness, and arrests in front of the White House.
We will prayerfully and peacefully assemble as a twofold public witness.
First, we'll be a prophetic witness to the church declaring, if they outlaw your faith, the faith will become outlaws. Stand against the Health and Human Services mandate now, or soon jail may be the only option.
Second, we are sending those in elected office a warning. We will not comply. You hold office because we chose you, and we will not comply with the evil Health and Human Services mandate or surrender our God-given freedom.
This is why we need your help. We are working to bring a contingent of young people to the White House.
The response from students has been overwhelming. They are willing to travel, to spend their time, to risk their freedom.
Only one thing holds them back. Most students cannot afford to take a trip to Washington, D.C.
We want to offer students partial and full scholarships. Will you go to acts529.com today and donate?
Donate to bring that army of young people to the White House on September 29th.
Acts 5:29. We must obey God rather than men.
If you believe that our nation is in crisis, give today to send students from all over the country to the White House for Acts 5:29.
Because I will not comply.
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 This morning, I had another talk with the German Chancellor, Herr Hitler. And here is the paper which bears his name upon it as well as mine. We regard the agreement signed last night as symbolic of the desire of our two peoples never to go to war with one another again.
When Hitler rose to power, no one believed that he would actually do the things that he said.
You know, our history teaches us something very simple. When an enemy says he's going to annihilate you, believe him.
Iran today poses a danger that threatens to engulf the entire world in chaos.
A nuclear-armed Iran is a grave danger to the peace and security of the entire world.
Diplomacy has failed.
Will sanctions work?
If diplomacy doesn't work, the clock could run out. We've wasted years on failed diplomacy. There's no chance that Iran will be talked out of its nuclear weapons program.
Iran is believed to be expanding right now its uranium enrichment activity deep inside of a mountain bunker.
Iran has tripled the pace of production of 20% grade uranium. They're transferring their facilities underground to be immune.
Time is running out.
They're racing towards acquiring a nuclear weapon.
None of us can afford to wait much longer.
ایران ملت‌های منطقه با مشت محکم دهن شما خواهند
وأن تكون قنبلة ذرية إيران وباكستان قنابل ضد إسرائيل ونهتف كما هتفنا في طهران مار جبار إسرائيل مار جبار أمريكا.
For the sake of our prosperity, for the sake of our security, for the sake of our children, Iran must
stop.
Be
Iran.
Stop
now. Last time, the world was silent. This time, our voices will be heard.
Should Wisconsin amend its constitution to grant personhood to unborn children? Would a personhood constitutional amendment provide permanent protection for Wisconsin's unborn children? No. We are all weary of the long struggle to end abortion, and we want a solution to protect unborn children from being destroyed. However, there are very important reasons why a personhood amendment strategy is not necessary, risky, and just plain wrong for Wisconsin. Here is Wisconsin Right to Life Legislative Director Sue Armacost.
Hello. There are at least 4 good reasons why a personhood amendment is wrong for Wisconsin. First, a personhood amendment would cancel out our current abortion ban. Wisconsin is fortunate to be one of only a handful of states which already has a law that prohibits abortion, Section 94004 of the Wisconsin statutes. Right now, this law cannot be used because of the Roe v. Wade abortion decision which legalized abortion. Once Roe v. Wade is overturned, this law would immediately go into effect and protect unborn children by shutting down abortion clinics. A personhood amendment would be harmful because it would make this law that prohibits abortion invalid. Second, without passing an entirely new law that prohibits abortion, a constitutional amendment in and of itself would not stop a single abortion. Some people mistakenly believe that existing laws on homicide and manslaughter would cover abortion following passage of a personhood amendment. However, these laws were not written with the unique medical situations which apply to abortion. For over 100 years, Wisconsin law has made a distinction between abortion and homicide, which will not be changed by a personhood constitutional amendment. And you know, one of the real problems with a personhood amendment is that it would knock out the law we already have and force Wisconsin to pass a new one. And when it comes time to pass such a law, will there be a pro-life legislature in place to pass it? And beyond that, will there be a pro-life governor to sign it? Unfortunately, there's just no way to know. The third reason a personhood amendment is wrong for Wisconsin is the cost factor. The cost of enacting a personhood amendment would be in the millions of dollars. For the Constitution to be amended, a proposal must pass in 2 consecutive sessions of the Wisconsin legislature, and then be placed on the ballot for approval by the public. Wisconsin Right to Life estimates it would cost at least $4 million or more to win a ballot measure. And reason number 4 is especially frightening. Attorneys' fees would be awarded to Planned Parenthood. Should a personhood amendment succeed, expert national and state legal authorities who advise Wisconsin Right to Life believe it would be challenged in court and struck down. Organizations like Planned Parenthood who would challenge the amendment would be awarded thousands of taxpayer dollars in legal fees. Honestly, sometimes an idea is too good to be true. This is one of those times. It's wrong to give false hope to mothers and babies. To do so is not in their best interests. Supporting a costly effort like a personhood amendment, which is risky and unnecessary, has the very real potential of causing more harm than good.
In summary, Wisconsin is already in the best position possible to protect unborn children by keeping in place the life-saving law we already have. Wisconsin Right to Life therefore vigorously opposes the passage of a personhood constitutional amendment in Wisconsin. We urge individuals, churches, and groups not to support a personhood amendment to the Wisconsin Constitution. Your support for our existing abortion ban is vital. Please tell your friends, family, neighbors, pastor, and other church leaders why a personhood amendment is wrong for Wisconsin. Please share this web link with them, wrtl.org/PA. At this webpage, people will find this video, a printable flyer, and more important information about this issue. Thank you.
no one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
Every service member has an obligation, not just that they can refuse a legal order or an unlawful order. They have an obligation to. They have to. And so they have to make a decision for themselves where that line is.
That anyone can understand why these people, after 6 days, are still in this filthy, miserable convention center. Why are they still here? There's the freeway here. I tell you what I would have done, what I would still do, I would say, let them walk out of here. Let them walk away from the filth. Let them walk away from the devastation. Let them walk away from the dead bodies in here.
Let them walk out of there because I'm standing right above that convention center. And what they've done is they've locked them in there. The government said, you go here and you'll get help. Or you go in that Superdome and you'll get help. And they didn't get help. They got locked in there and they watched people being killed around them. And they watched people starving. And they watched elderly people not get any medicine. And now they know it's happening because we've been telling them repeatedly over and over every day. And you know what they're doing now? And I'm not blaming anyone. I'm telling you what's happening. They have set up a checkpoint at the bottom of this bridge. This is the bridge that takes you from New Orleans over into Gretna, from Orleans Parish into Jefferson's Parish. It's the only way out. It's the connection to the rest of the world. And they've set up a checkpoint, and anyone who walks out of that city now is turned around. You are not allowed to go to Gretna, Louisiana from New Orleans, Louisiana. Over there, there's hope. Over there, there's electricity. Over there, there's food and water. But you cannot go from there to there. I think the government will not allow you to do it. It's a fact.
I don't know, man. Let them walk out of here. Let them walk the hell out of here. Let them get on that interstate and walk out.
We had Walmart deliver 3 trucks of water, trailer trucks of water. FEMA turned them back. They said we didn't need them. This was a week ago. FEMA, we had 1,000 gallons of diesel fuel on a Coast Guard vessel docked in my parish. The Coast Guard said, come get the fuel right away. When we got there with our trucks, they got a word. FEMA says, don't give you the fuel. Yesterday, FEMA comes in and cuts all of our emergency communication lines. They cut them without notice. Our sheriff, Harry Lee, goes back in, he reconnects the line, he posts armed guards on our line and says no one's getting...
That's what we issued our declaration of 10 orders that we will not obey. And what those are designed to do is to get the troops thinking ahead of time about where the line of the sand is in advance. And that's what we're hearing in feedback from people in National Guard units is that in Katrina, that's kind of what happened, is the police and the military there, the National Guardsmen, were caught off guard and really hadn't thought about it in advance.
Walking up and down these streets, you don't want to think about the stuff that you're going to have to do. Somebody pops around the corner.
Let me shoot an American.
And what we're hearing is that it won't be the same way next time. There'll be more who will say, no, I'm not going to do that.
I remember when Tony Perkins first felt the heart of God to call pastors to have a corporate time of prayer for the nation every year. The call to fall was born out of a leader's heart for the nation and the understanding that pastors and their churches can be positive gatekeepers for America.
I believe that prayer is essential and fundamental for our success in being involved in whatever happens in government and politics. And the reason why is because prayer, if you look at the believers in the New Testament, prayer is to enable them to receive power and anointing so they could be effective. We cannot be effective without God. We need the Lord to empower us, to give us boldness, to give us confidence, to break the fear out of our lives so we could go forth and be the world changers.
I believe prayer is our only hope. I believe that praying for God to forgive us and to give us another chance as a nation is the place where we are right now. And if we don't get that, we don't have any place to go.
And the last several years, we have partnered with the Family Research Council and taken part in the Call to Fall. In fact, last year, after the Call to Fall event, I had people come up to me saying, "Can we do this every Sunday?" They were so excited about being able to come and pray for America. So we actually have our worship team that's there. They will play. Someone will grab the microphone and pray. They'll break out into a song. Somebody else will pray. They'll lead us in another chorus of worship. So it's this atmosphere not only of prayer and intercession, but of worship to God. And then it just sets the stage for Sunday's worship time.
The Sunday before Independence Day, we're asking that you spend at least a few minutes on your knees as a church, praying for America. Visit calltofall.org to join what is becoming a movement with churches participating in all 50 states. Who knows but what God might hear our cries, forgive our sins, and heal our land.